In Melbourne town, where the suits all grind, there's a lawyer with a vision, one of a kind. He's the Aussie Overlaw'd. He'll fight for your rights, and he's got his own channel shining bright. From the courtroom to the web, he's got it all, sharing legal knowledge, answering the call. He breaks it down in a language we all understand. The Aussie Overlaw'd taking a stand. With his Aussie charm and his legal know-how, he's the hero we need, showing us how. He fights for justice, no case too tough. The Aussie Overlaw'd, he's more than enough. He's more than enough. In Melbourne town, where the suits all grind, there's a lawyer with
a vision, one of a kind. He's the Aussie Overlaw'd. He'll fight for your rights, and he's got his own channel shining bright. From the courtroom to the web, he's got it all. Alright, let's see. I've had a piss, got a drink, got that all set up. I really hope Slater and Gordon aren't going to sue me over this. We'll see what happens. I think I'm good. Although why is it putting out a bitrate so low? Shit.
He's the hero we need, showing us how. He fights for justice, no case too tough.
Stream.
The Aussie Overlaw'd, he's more than enough.
Whoops. Strange, it's cut it back to like 2500. Oh, numlock's on. That's why not.
He's more than enough.
Alright.
In Melbourne town,
Alright, so that's going out, so we should be getting the decent stuff.
There's a lawyer with a vision, one of a kind. He's the Aussie Overlaw'd. He'll fight for your rights,
Alright,
and he's
let's
got
do
his
this.
own channel shining bright.
And good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to this week's The Week That Was here on the Law News and Laughter channel. Hope you're doing well, people. We've got a bit to talk about this week. Just today, some massive tea dropped across the Australian legal sector here. Now, I'm going to have to be very careful at dancing around to make sure that I don't wind up getting myself sued. So I'm going to be very careful when I talk about what's happened with one of our major law firms, Schmader and Schmorden, who were previously a $2.7 billion schmingery law firm. And the bombshell email that was allegedly released earlier today, that seems like it might be threatening to tear the firm apart. But we'll be talking about that. In addition to that, we've got my shit talking about the fact that I missed out on the Karen Reid motions hearing, which I'm still pissy about. But we have to talk about everything that happened in the Karen Reid case this week as well. We've got various other little bits and pieces of news articles. We've got something about a judge dismissing DUI charges against a prosecutor who's shocked there. And we're going to talk about a very distressing tale of a US woman who carried a baby to term only to find out that they had implanted her with somebody else's embryo. I have not... I watched part of the chimp out clip, Jaren. At some point, if we get towards the end of the show and I'm still running low on stuff to talk about, we can probably watch that, because it looked a little bit funny. So, KT is actually catching a live too. Fantastic. And where are we? Hang on. Let me do the right thing here. Out and about with Diane. Good to see you. Ozbot is working, although the stream avatars are not. I knew I was forgetting something. Stream avatars, so that'll boot up in a second. Jaren, good to see you. Doc the Butcher, hello. Tina, good to see you too. See, I didn't forget you. Kathy Trout, thank you for telling everyone to put the thumbs up. Black Horse has made it on time, just. Blenderous, hello. Jason J, didn't know you streamed early and never got a notification. I'm not shocked. I mean, I was running ridiculously late in terms of that traveling lawyer stream. I think I gave YouTube like 45 minutes notice that I was even going live, but I'm just doing my best to make sure that there's at least content going out, preferably daily, although as a good chunk of you are aware, because I had some people reach out to make sure that I did proof of life, I missed out on a few streams during this week thanks to some issues with the laptop in the car. But yeah, I mean, if you want to go back and watch it, feel free. Where are we? Jilems, good to see you. Someone needs healing to get the high note. Yeah, well, you know, the singing's just that little bit of extra, just to give you guys a little bit of funniness right at the start, because I'll be honest, not a lot of the news has much laughter in it these days, so I have to provide all the jokes myself or provide you guys with the ability to create your own jokes or write your own jokes at home, as I say when I'm struggling for words. Where are we? Nicholas is in the chat. Hello. Hopefully the antibiotics have done you some good. Boosh, hello. Thought I was out of luck when my doggos had me up at 3:45 a.m. Missed the last stream by an hour or so. Oh, that sucks. Love the sing-along in the beginning. Good. I'm glad, because that's sort of... It helps pump me up too. But I can talk about anything... I'm assuming that's supposed to be Australian. That's where Schmarth Vader worked, right? Yes. In the USA, we have Schmeiman and Schuster. Yep. Billy Aoki, right back at you. Lots of alleged if you're talking about other lawyers. There's going to be a lot of the use of the word alleged. Pretty much every second word that comes out of my mouth when I'm talking about that is going to be alleged. So... KT finally catching alive. Yes. Monkey business. Can you say whoops? Oh, yeah. Just you wait. Melly Cormier's in the house. Hello. What up, you two? What up to you two? Chrissy Lou. Morning. Hope the baby came out black in the name of diversity, equity, inclusion. Oh, Boosh, you have no idea. Crimson Queen, first live in a while. Oh, well, in that case, Crimson Queen, let me give you a rundown. Firstly, if you chat in chat, you get one of these. If you chat in chat for 5 minutes, you earn $5 bucks. And you get to do shit like this. They are redeemable in chat. You can access exclamation mark menu at any time during the stream, or you can irritate the hell out of me just by spamming exclamation mark peanut. You had a very busy week yourself, Glennis. Well, I'm glad it's Friday and we can all sit back and relax.
Milkers.
There we go. Psychodol, hello. It's going to get triple X rated if we're making the jokes. Well, shit happens. Goldfish, hello. Actually, that reminds me, I got to message you. Where are we? Daisy Jones, hello. I miss doing this. Neo Dark Matter, good to see you too. At least the officers from Marcy Correctional Facility have been arrested for the murder of Robert Brooks. Huh. There we go. Making good use of them. Did you see the Delphi burner phones? Was at the side of the double disappeared? Another double disappeared. No, I didn't. I'll be perfectly honest, Nick. I have paid next to no attention to the Delphi case. I probably should, at least more so than I have. But at this point, I'm like, do I have time? Do I not? Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. We'll see. Oh, hang on. No, that should be resetting to 10, 9, 8. See, I miss this shit. I can't use it on Stream. Yeah, when I use StreamYard in the car, I don't get any of this. Did I cover the vegan cult arrests? No, but if you have any details, let me know. I'll happily talk about that too. The bot doesn't pick up the request if it's in a sentence. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. If you want to be sure, use it as the first word in the sentence. Okay? Okay. All right, let's get stuck into it, people. Welcome to this week's episode. It's kind of sad that I have to call it this week's episode. Remember when I used to be able to stream every day? And like I'd get depressed because I'd have nothing to talk about or whatever else, and I'd worry that I wasn't bringing you guys good enough content. I still get depressed and worried about whether or not I'm bringing you guys good enough content, but now I only have to do it once a week. Or twice a week. Which of itself brings a whole nother level of depression. But anyway, let's get stuck into it. Alrighty, Roo, as my mum used to say. She probably still says it now that I think about it. Alright, US woman sues after carrying the wrong baby in an IVF error. A US woman who unknowingly carried and delivered a baby boy who was not biologically hers is launching legal proceedings against an IVF clinic over the mix-up after being forced to give up custody. Being forced to give up custody? This woman was in amazing levels of distress having found this out. And now they're making it seem like she was forced to hand the baby over. Christina Murray from the state of Georgia became pregnant after IVF treatment at Coastal Fertility Clinic in May 2023 after having spent a buttload of money trying to get pregnant for a number of years. But it became clear that the embryo she'd been carrying in fact belonged to another couple after Miss Murray gave birth to a boy who was a different ethnicity both to her and the sperm donor she had chosen. Now, I'm not going to cast aspersions on a single woman deciding that she wants to get up the duff using a turkey baster. If you have that maternal instinct, you want children, and you haven't met the right guy, just do your best, okay? It is what it is. But at this point, this is a little bit concerning. Despite the error, Miss Murray wanted to keep the child and raise the baby for several months before the biological parents were granted custody. In a statement released through her lawyer, Miss Murray said, "To carry a baby, fall in love with him, deliver him, and build the uniquely special bond between mother and baby, to have all of that taken away, I'll never fully recover from this." Miss Murray, a white woman, gave birth to a black baby in December 2023. Don't at me, racists. It's literally there in the article. She never posted photos of the child online or allowed her friends and family to see him. She eventually purchased an at-home DNA test, and the test results she received in January 2024 confirmed that they were not biologically related, according to the complaint filed against the clinic. Oh, hang on. Do we actually have that complaint? I meant to see if I could find that. She informed the clinic about the mix-up the following month. It alerted the biological parents, who sued for custody when the baby was 3 months old. Miss Murray voluntarily gave up custody after being told by her legal team that she stood no chance of winning in family court. The baby now lives with his biological parents in another state under a different name. The complaint says to this day, Miss Murray does not know whether the clinic, Coastal Fertility Specialists, mistakenly transferred her embryo to a different couple or what might have happened to it afterwards. This woman could still have a child out there somewhere. She's already had the child that she gave birth to ripped away from her by the genetic biological parents, but there's the possibility that she has generated her own child and has no clue and may never know. This was an isolated incident with no further patients affected. Bullshit. We investigated ourselves and found we did nothing wrong. The same day this error was discovered, we immediately conducted an in-depth review and put additional safeguards in place to further protect patients and to ensure that such incidents do not happen again. How the hell did you manage to DNA test every child that had been given birth to in the last, let's say, 2 months? give or take, you know, just in case there were complications and there was an early delivery. How have you managed to DNA test all those kids in that period of time? There have been several lawsuits in recent years brought against US fertility clinics over IVF mix-ups. The IVF is a procedure during which a woman's eggs are fertilized by a man's sperm in a laboratory, I can no words tonight, before the embryo is implanted into a woman's uterus. I did see it was interesting that there was I did see a news article earlier in the week as well, where they managed to use the genetic material from two men to create an embryo. And everyone's like, oh, yay, now we don't need women. Yeah, we haven't perfected an artificial womb yet, so women are still a big part of the process. Who the hell are you kidding? So, Maury Povich is coming out of retirement. Oh, there's plenty of Maury shit this week, honestly. There was a couple other things, and I was like, yeah, we need Maury. Honestly, it's this point in time where we need Jerry Springer, but we basically have to dig him up and reanimate him. So, okay, so we have the lawsuit. It is 45 pages. I am not going to read through the entirety of it. Excuse me. Christina Murray entrusted Coastal Fertility to assist her becoming pregnant so that she could deliver her biological child. Coastal Fertility created embryos for Miss Murray, using her eggs, and then transferred an embryo to Miss Murray, who became pregnant. When Miss Murray delivered her child, however, it was readily apparent that the defendants had transferred an embryo that did not belong to Miss Murray. The child was African American and Miss Murray is white. I mean, to be fair, initially it could have been that they injected the wrong semen into the embryo, potentially. The defendants recklessly transferred the embryo belonging to another stranger couple to Miss Murray's womb, and she unknowingly and unwillingly carried a child through pregnancy that was not biologically related to her. 5 months after giving birth, she'd bonded with the baby and desperately wanted to keep the baby. But after Coastal Fertility found out that the defendants had transferred to Miss Murray an embryo belonging to another couple and then alerted the stranger couple sued Miss Murray in family court for the baby. As a result of the lawsuit, Miss Murray's baby was ripped away from her. Miss Murray's connection to the child has been erased. His birth certificate has been changed to the new name of the stranger couple that they later chose for the child. Oh, no shit. They didn't even keep the first name. Wow. And he lives with the stranger couple who have full custody in a different state. Coastal Fertility. I should probably talk about them like this because it makes more sense. Coastal Fertility promised to safeguard and protect the plaintiff's frozen embryos, vouching to maximize her opportunity to become pregnant with her own child. Despite her agreement to maintain the position of extreme trust and fidelity, Coastal Fertility recklessly, negligently, or knowingly lost the plaintiff's embryos and implanted the wrong embryo in Miss Murray. To this day, she doesn't know if Coastal Fertility transferred yet another couple an embryo that belonged to her and that should have been transferred to her. She does not know if her biologically related child is being raised by someone else. Wait, you mean if I keep talking like this, you'll fuck off? Sweet! These tragic events have been crushing for Miss Murray. She will live with this trauma for the rest of her life. No, I can't do it. Screw it. Ms. Murray brings this suit to seek accountability from Coastal Fertility and its employees for their reckless misconduct that led to a preventable nightmare. Can't imagine how livid I would be if this happened. It's so incredibly expensive and painful and stressful to do IVF, and she had 9 months of pregnancy. Yep. Honestly, I can't imagine it. Really. Parties, jurisdiction and venue. I mean, I don't think we have to go through all the factual allegations because we know exactly what happened. There's no real denying it. Bonds with the baby and cares for her as her own. Where are my allegations? What was that? Heartbreaking damages. Oh. Tolling, concealment, and estoppel. The elements giving rise to the plaintiff's cause of actions were completed in Georgia, where the plaintiff first learned upon giving birth to the baby in Savannah, Georgia, that the defendants had transferred the wrong embryo to her uterus. Plaintiff's damages from the defendant's acts and omissions therefore do not accrue until she was she made this realization in Savannah, Georgia, immediately after giving birth. The plaintiff did not discover until, at the earliest, that the birth of the defendants had caused her injury by transferring the wrong embryo to her uterus. I'm curious as to why it took her so long to do the DNA test. Like, maybe she was just hopeful that the egg was hers and everything else wasn't? Don't know. The plaintiff could not have discovered with due diligence the defendant's misconduct any earlier than she did. The plaintiff had no reason or rational basis to request a DNA test while the child was in her utero, and none of the healthcare providers indicated any reason for her to doubt the baby she grew in her uterus was her biological child. Rather, the plaintiff trusted the defendants would perform their obligations with their boasted expertise and never had any reason to doubt that they would make such an enormous error. The earliest that the plaintiff could have known about the defendant's conduct was in late December 2023 when the baby was born and bore no physical resemblance to her. Defendants are therefore stopped from the discovery rule and all applicable law from relying on any argument concerning the statute of limitations. Got in there nice and hard on that one. Claims. Negligence. No shit, you think? I would say that they owed her a duty of care and that they failed in that. Question is, how the fuck does this situation even happen? You'd think there'd be basic measures in place to prevent something like this happening. Psychodol, I wish that were true. And yes, there are things in place, but this happens more often than you would think. There's at least a few cases a year that I'm aware of. Or I believe is the case. Defendants and each of them had a duty to render care necessary to achieve the plaintiff's fertility goals at the same level, skill, prudence, and diligence that other members of the profession commonly possess or exercise. Defendants had a duty to use reasonable care in the storage of the embryos. Furthermore, they had a duty to impose reasonable policies and procedures to ensure that everything was carried out with due diligence. They had a basic duty and a duty on a voluntary undertaking to oversee and render fertility services. The plaintiff relied on the defendant's aforementioned duties of care to her placing the genetic material in the defendant's care. Gross negligence, more or less the same arguments. Bailment. Under a contract between the plaintiff and Coastal Fertility, express or implied, Coastal Fertility acquired plaintiff's eggs for the purpose of creating embryos and delivering one of those embryos to her body so that she may become pregnant with a child grown from that embryo. Coastal Facility accepted possession of and took control of the plaintiff's eggs. Ow. Almost just gave myself a paper cut on my legal dictionary. Under such circumstances, the law imposed an obligation to safeguard the property of another, or bailment. Plaintiff paid Coastal Fertility money and other valuable consideration in exchange for the obligation. Specifically, a constructive bailment arises when Coastal Fertility, as is here the case, take lawful possession of the property of another and have a duty to account for that property without intending to appropriate it. More or less, she gave it to them on trust in exchange for money. Jam! You paid for an embryo, and that's what we gave you. Here's a generous offer of $6. Once Coastal Facility received the plaintiff's eggs, at all times it exercised complete dominion over the eggs and over her embryos that it created from those eggs. Coastal Facility breached its duty of care by failing to take appropriate measures to safeguard. Basically, you done lost the embryos and the eggs, and you had a duty of care to that property. It's kind of weird that we have to call it property, but Australian books require a blood sacrifice. You have no idea, honestly. The blood, sweat, and tears that go into... I think I've still got scars on one of my hands, actually, from where one of my books sliced me open. Yeah, right there. You can't really see it, but there's a line that goes through there. I was picking up one of my... I want to say it was one of my property law books. And because it was pretty much brand new, I dropped it and the page is just sliced. Breach of fiduciary duty, so more or less all along the same lines of cause of action. Plaintiff repeats and alleges going for concealment, though. They made numerous representations on its website that were false, that they knew or made representations without regard to the truth. Those false representations included that there is no safer place for clients' embryos than Coastal Facility Laboratory. I would argue that is a puffery statement, big, bold, empty statement that's not meant to mean anything, not really legally enforceable. Coastal Fertility's laboratory takes care of its customers' embryos as well as it does the uterus. That one could get them in trouble. Unless they can show that they take very bad care of women's uteruses as well, in which case if they can prove that they lost a uterus. then maybe they'll get away with that. Coastal Facilities Laboratory has quality assurance and control that it needs. They do everything it can to double down on improving the quality of care you receive, your eggs, the sperm, and more importantly, the embryos. Coastal Facilities false representations are on the website and viewed by Miss Murray when considering to use Coastal Fertility Services. So basically, she's basically saying that they lied on the website and induced her into using their services. Plaintiff would not have purchased and continued to purchase the services from them had she known that they were that the assertions on their website were so false. I think that's probably not a it's not necessarily a winning argument for me. I think she's going to get enough out of the this one's going to hurt them. Battery and lack of consent. Because they inserted her with a embryo that was not her own, technically they did not have consent to do what they did. So she consented to the transfer into her uterus of an embryo comprised of genetic material from herself and her selected sperm donor. She did not consent to the transfer to her body of any other embryo or other material. To put it in another way, say you invite a plumber into your house because there's an issue with your toilet. They're there under a very special condition for you consenting to them to being in your property. If the plumber then kicks their shoes off, sits on your couch, puts their grubby feet up on your coffee table to watch a game of football and cracks open one of your beers and you say, well, hang on, this is not the reason that you're supposed to be in my property. They've done so under false pretenses. Sort of similar thing here if you equate the house to her uterus. If they've effed up this badly, how do we know they didn't put her husband's coom in the wrong embryo? Because she used a sperm donor. So we can be positive that they didn't use her husband's sperm into someone else. Unless it's an LFL replay. Well, that's a good point. The physician and the other employees transferred the stranger couple's embryo into a uterus, were acting within the scope of the employment, so vicarious liability applies. The original person in the plaintiff's situation would have been offended by having an embryo created by the stranger couple's genetic material transferred to their body without consent. Matilda's in the house. What's wrong with her husband? She doesn't have one. As a direct and proximate result, the plaintiff suffered severe physical, emotional, and financial damages. Violations of the Fair Business Practices Act. I will trust them on that. I'm not going to go into that in depth detail. How many more counts of violations of Southern Carolina Unfair Trade Practices Act? Okay. What do we got? Prayer for relief. The defendants appear and answer the complaint. The plaintiff has a trial by jury. Show me a jury that isn't going to find in her favor on the basis that the wrong embryo was placed into her stomach. Well, uterus. You know what I mean. Judgment to be entered in the plaintiff's favor against some or all of the defendants in an amount of excess of $75,000. The plaintiff recover punitive damages, recover her attorney's fees as permitted by law, treble damages, all costs and other allowable litigation expenses be taxed against some or all defendants, and for such other relief as the court deems fair and appropriate. I personally love that. That's used in almost every jurisdiction and almost every... No, so when it says only $75,000, that's because that's the minimum you can ask for. Basically, you're saying, here's what the statutory minimum is. We want whatever the court will grant us. But it has to be at least that amount to breach certain jurisdictions. For example, here, if we go to the magistrate's court, if we want something in excess of, say, $100,000, I mean, it used to be a thing. I think they've changed it now. But there used to be a cap on how much your damages you could claim at the magistrate's court would be. If you hit $100,000, you had to lodge in the county court. I believe they've changed that now, but doesn't really matter. So... I think the clinic gave her embryo to somebody else. Yeah, and the fact that they reckon that they've done an in-depth review and they're saying, no, nothing else has happened. We're not saying anything about it. You can't tell me that they managed to track down and DNA test every one of those kids in such a short period of time. It's just not happening. So, and it's a demand for jury trial submitted on the 18th of February. So there we go. Oh, God. It's been a long week, and these are not doing it for me. I may have to pull out one of the green ones. So, alrighty. Let's move on to some other stuff, shall we? For example, Mexico is threatening to sue Google over the Gulf of America name change. Not so sure it's really Google that they should be suing, but okay. Following President Trump's executive order renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, many online were quick to point out that the body of water overlaps with the territorial water of America's neighbors, Mexico, Cuba, and therefore the United States should not be alone in dictating its name. Now Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, sounds very Mexican, is threatening Google with a lawsuit if it doesn't change the boundaries and restore the Gulf of Mexico for territory outside the U.S. maritime area. Seriously? So what, it's going to be Gulf of America up here and Gulf of Mexico down here, according to them? What, the Gulf of Cuba over here? Meh. As it stands now, users looking at Google Maps from the United States will see Gulf of America. Those in Mexico continue to see Gulf of Mexico, and the rest of the world sees both names displayed side by side. Sheinbaum makes the case that the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea only extends a nation's sovereign territory claim up to 12 nautical miles off its coastline, and so only the 12-mile area should display Gulf of America, regardless of where users are located. President Trump has pulled the United States out of the international governing body, so that argument would fall on deaf ears. Yeah, no shit, you think? I would argue that it's still part of South America, so it really shouldn't matter. Don't look into how many Mexican presidential candidates died in order for her to win. Okay, I won't. Sheinbaum has been quite vocal about the Gulf of Mexico issue and used a news conference on Monday to share that Mexico had recently threatened Google with legal action if it did not make the change. Google has told Mexican officials that the change to Gulf of America was consistent with our normal operating procedure to reflect our platform's geographic names prescribed by different authoritative government sources, including where authoritative sources may differ. Excuse me. Google also complied in renaming Alaska's Mount Denali to Mount McKinley, even though residents there were largely opposed to the move. But that mountain, being on US federal land, was open season for President Trump. Hope he rescinds the order in 2028 just to screw with them. Google has long had measures in place to deal with territorial disputes. The Kashmir region is a region in northwest India that's long been disputed by India, Pakistan, and China, and users in those countries see different boundaries reflected on Google Maps. Maybe Canada should demand that Google rename the Gulf of Canada and see how Trump reacts. Trump's administration, for its part, has taken its own actions to try and enforce a name change, including barring the Associated Press from press gatherings for continuing to use Gulf of Mexico. The Associated Propaganda, for its part, says an international wire service it uses the name most consistent with global standards.
Billy Aoki. SGD 5.00 should have made it Gulf of CUM, Cuba, USA, Mexico.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I saw you tell that joke elsewhere, but still funny. Prefer the Gulf of Swamp Ass. The move by President Trump is something of an ideological litmus test, revealing who the sycophants are and who should be rooted out as disloyal. It is also probably just fun for Trump to wield his power in chaotic and messy ways, and I say all the power to him. Does how the name is displayed on Google Maps really matter that much in isolation? Not quite. It is the broader implication of testing who will bend to the power that is more concerning. Tech companies like Google and Meta have been quick to acquiesce in a way that might get them on Trump's good side. It is at least assuring to see Mexico's president is willing to push back against such power moves. Why is that assuring? Rather than sit idly by, even if it will not result in much change. It's interesting. I don't hear them jumping up and down about China calling it the South China Sea, despite the fact that it's well beyond 12 nautical miles. Maybe we should just start calling it the North Australian Sea. I don't know. See what happens. More of the United States is in contact with the Gulf. It's our Gulf. Fuck off. Yeah, fair enough. Continent's called America, therefore the Gulf of America is more appropriate. I would agree with that, in all honesty. A man has driven over 700 miles just to set fire to the home of a man talking to his ex-girlfriend, according to police.
At 5:01 in the morning on February 10th, a dark-colored Volkswagen Passat pulls up at the intersection of Merganser Way and Mailer Drive. A subject exits the vehicle and goes to the rear of 5284 Merganser Way. He's there for approximately 4 minutes and then goes back to his vehicle. It appears he's retrieving something from the vehicle, and he's also turned the vehicle off. He then goes back to the rear of the residence, where he stays for approximately 12 minutes. At 5:18, that individual is seen running from the rear of the residence and flees the area in the Volkswagen.
The hell was that? Did we just watch like a creepy ghost video?
5:18, that individual is seen running from the rear of the residence and flees the area in the Volkswagen. 30 seconds later, smoke is seen coming from the rear of the property and...
Thank you, Jill.
Said this is hot off the press.
Very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Explosion of fire. That is when our officers showed up with the fire department minutes later, and they found the house fully engulfed in flame.
Ooh.
The tag on the vehicle, through our intersection cameras and our license plate readers, was determined to be out of Michigan. Our detectives then began their investigation and tracked the whereabouts of when this vehicle came into Bensalem and when it exited Bensalem. What they determined was that this vehicle came off of I-95 at Street Road at approximately 1:24 a.m. and drove directly to the neighborhood on Merganser Way. He then sat there for a few hours until responding to the rear of the property to ignite this fire. He then enters back on 95 South at 5:24 after fleeing the neighborhood at 5:18. So he literally got off of 95, went to the residence, responded back to 95 to flee. That vehicle's tag comes back to an address in Michigan. Our police department immediately began to coordinate their efforts with the Kent County Sheriff's Department, and we advised them of the role of this vehicle in this arson.
I don't believe you.
We also discovered that the vehicle's owner had a 21-year-old son named Harrison Jones. This individual is the sole user of that Volkswagen Passat, and he was also the ex-boyfriend of a 21-year-old female who was recently engaged in an online relationship with a 22-year-old son at the Merganser Way residence. On February 12th, the Kent County Sheriff's Department, based on this information, executed a search warrant of that residence. During that search warrant, they recovered lidocaine burn cream, gauze wrappings, a locking pick, and also recovered the Volkswagen Passat that was used that evening. Mr. Jones was interviewed but did not provide much information. He did state or did deny that he was ever in Pennsylvania. We have surveillance from a local Wawa within an hour of Bensalem that contradicts his statement and captured his image at the Wawa prior to the fire being set.
I can't take the Wawa thing seriously. Sorry, I just realized I'm out of caffeine, so I'm just quickly messaging the wife.
Calling Vladimir Putin the good guy in this is just not in line with America.
And of course I go with... Oh no shit, Mitch McConnell's finally retiring? Jesus, finally, that poor guy. The last time I saw them wheel him out, he looked like he had no idea where he was. You still up? Don't know why I'm texting her. She can probably hear me from here. Miss what the crime was? What, you mean aside from the fact that he burnt a house down? Thought you were going to say he died. No, he didn't die. So, I'm not going to bother rereading that because he kind of looks like a spoiled, like, what do you call it? Shit, what's the word I'm looking for here? A dipshit? So, anyway. Chubby Chick's restaurant in Center City has been met with backlash and the owner has spoken out. In Philadelphia, trouble has arisen for a newly opened Center City restaurant, with the business owner claiming she's being bullied by neighbors who simply aren't happy that her business is there. Maybe they're not happy about people that are promoting obesity. Maybe, just maybe, they want chicks to be slender, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Well, I'm willing to bet that my female viewership just went... But anyway. What we know, Chubby Chick's restaurant on Walnut Street just opened up 2 months ago, and in that time they say they've found dead rodents left at their door, received complaints to their landlord, and heard comments that the business doesn't belong in the prestigious neighborhood. My life savings, my home, all of that's wrapped up into this business, so it's not just, oh, if I have to go, no, it would be devastating. Chubby Chick's just opened at 1111 Walnut Street 2 months ago. It's a place where people come to eat brunch and celebrate. Let's go to the tape, because now I'm curious.
Well, right now, some trouble for a newly opened Center City restaurant. The business owner claims she's being bullied by neighbors, harassed, who simply are not
Yeah, because they keep ordering Lyft, not forklift. We know this.
happy her business is there. Chubby Chick's opened up shop on Walnut Street. Our Alex George spoke with the owner about what all is happening here.
This small business just opened up 2 months ago, but in that time, they say they've received dead rodents on their door, complaints made to their landlord, and even received comments that their business doesn't belong in a prestigious neighborhood.
My life savings, my home, all that's wrapped up into this business. So it's not just a, oh, if I have to go. No, it would be devastating.
Chubby Chick's just opened up at 11.
No, I'm willing to bet it's the exact opposite. I'm willing to bet that it's a bunch of fat chicks sitting around complaining about the skinny bitches walking around outside the window while they eat cake.
11 Walnut Street 2 months ago. It's a place where people come to eat brunch and celebrate.
We do karaoke on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays. So it's so much fun. It's inclusive. You come here and you be yourself. And that's what everything is about here.
Inclusive, really? I mean, there's one guy there. Looks like he's there against his will, though.
But since opening, owner Shakira Turner says things haven't been great.
We're basically not too welcomed here. I thought that we would be.
She says the neighbors have made several complaints to the landlord, requiring her lawyer to get involved.
They're saying that...
Wait, hang on. Is that a fucking ice cream parlor next door?
To the landlord, requiring her lawyer to get involved.
They're saying that we're playing unusual music. That
Good morning, Aaron.
That riffraff is coming out of here, and that's just not true. We're open from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. during the week, and they were saying that we were playing music to 2 a.m. We're not even here, and even going as far as saying that one of us was on the roof of their building at 2 a.m. and just basically putting in false claims to my landlord, which, really stirred up some issues.
She says she's even had one-on-one confrontations.
I even had someone tell me to my face that, how did I get here? Did I use my drug dealer baby daddy's money? So it's hurtful. It's extremely hurtful.
And since, she says issues have continued, including stolen signs, food left on her back door, someone entering
on
the
the one
business
hand, I'm
and
sure you
flooding
look
the
like an
basement
absolute
multiple
dick, but well
times,
done, Boosh.
plus leaving dead rodents at the storefront.
Someone's left a rat 3 times in front of our building. So after us getting them up, throwing them away, thinking that maybe it was a fluke, it was every single day.
A video detailing the situation at Chubby Chicks is gaining traction on social media, asking the community to come and support the business.
It's disappointing in the time that we live in, so I just really wanted to be able to hold her close.
Dr. Afia, content creator. Oh, you know I'm looking this shit up in a private tab because I don't want that to infect my search results, but... Okay, now I'm confused. Because what I'm seeing is... Oh, okay. Of course, she's... So the actual Dr. Afia is... related to Al-Qaeda somehow? Apparently she's under arrest or some shit? I don't know. Oh, this can't be her. Oh, are you serious? Oh, I don't want to have to log into Facebook just to laugh at her. They put her on the frickin'... Oh, hang on. Maybe this is... No, maybe it's a different one. Is that her? What if I don't want to log into Facebook? Okay, apparently I got no way around it. I'm not letting this go. I'm just not. Chubby Chicks restaurant. Nope, that's fine. Nope, that ain't her. Think that's her? Oh, okay. See, I was going to laugh at her initially because I thought that it was someone that had like 800 followers, but no, she's got 76,000 on Instagram, so I suppose she counts.
And show her that the community is here to support her.
We reached out to those neighbors' property manager, and we will update you when we get a response. In Old City, Alex George.
Oh, I really should have checked before pausing that, shouldn't I? Jeez, all right. New high-tech road cameras are catching out drivers as authorities take aims at noisy vehicles. That's right, people. Your car may now be too noisy. Motorists who disturb the peace are being put on notice as the long-awaited crackdown on noisy vehicles in suburban Aussie streets is underway. Just months after new technology was quietly rolled out, authorities are now gaining an understanding of the extent of the problem. In the early days of the trial of the new high-tech noise-measuring cameras, but the writing is on the wall, and drivers operating overly loud vehicles on certain roads could face hefty fines. For fuck's sake.
Hello there.
Flux! In New South Wales, cars under 20 years old are legally limited to a maximum noise level of 90 decibels, roughly equivalent to the volume of a lawnmower. Motorcycles under 40 years are limited to a maximum of 94. The devices take the noise reading when the car is stationary. The technology is being used in London and New York. However, the Singaporean government, in a similar initiative, found it too hard to attribute the source to the noise in a specific vehicle in busy areas. Noise cameras are an emerging technology, and the trial will evaluate the effectiveness and accuracy of the equipment and the resources required to use noise cameras. Can we not just live our lives? Who the fuck cares if a car is noisy? If we have to get from point A to point B, oh, I'm sorry, it's because they want everybody to be in those 15-minute cities, isn't it? This is just another excuse to just pile on fine after fine, grind everybody into the ground when we're already dealing with a cost of living crisis, a housing crisis, an economic crisis brought on by years of Labor mismanagement. Yeah, no, let's just throw an extra fine on top of it because someone might not have been able to have their car serviced and the engine puts out a little bit over 90 decibels worth of sound. Like, I'm sorry. I've got bigger things to care about, okay? Now, one of the things that I was going to have... You know what? No, screw it. I was going to save it, but I'm going to have a little bit of a rant now, okay?
Jill M. said, "Where have you been, Aussie? This was a law in the 80s. Bikes and cars."
But were they using cameras to track it, is my question. But what I want to know is where the hell they get off wasting Australian taxpayer funds. In one instance, we managed to send $4.7 billion overseas. For bullshit, in my opinion. But rather than looking after our own people here, rather than looking after the Australians that are in desperate need of it, we sent $4.7 billion overseas for specific grants. $4.7 billion. Let's break that down. If we were to increase the median wage of, say, registered nurses across the country, I'm not just talking in city centres, I'm talking in regional areas. If we would increase it to $80,000 a year, inclusive of super, let's be fair, that's 58,750 nurses. We just had a 2-year-old die in a hospital because they were understaffed and unmanaged, and because the poor kid was left waiting for 2.5 hours before being seen. And even then, he wasn't actually provided with any medical care because they were too run off their feet. They couldn't put a drip in his arm. They couldn't put an electronic monitor on him. So after 2.5 hours, he's finally given a bed, despite the fact that he probably should have been seen within 10 minutes, and he died from a cardiac arrest. Our health system is fucked, but they're sending money overseas. I'm sorry. But with our country crumbling around us, it's time to look a little more inwardly. All right, got that. Got that. Why does that keep jumping around? Got the chubby chicks. A crocodile has smashed a grandfather in its jaws and dragged him into the water at a theme park. Locals believe that the reptile was tame and often visited the Lucky Croc once it had been saved from a flood in the last week. The animal was kept at a local theme park for residents to make offerings to in South Sulawesi in Indonesia. Oh, that's not good. Things took a turn when an elderly man reached out to offer food to the predator, that then latched onto his arm and pulled him into the water below. Onlookers screamed as the man was lashed back and forth on the croc's jaws before it eventually released him. Firefighters arrived at the Kromori Dairyland Centre to take the man to hospital. He was left with a severe arm injury. Siti Asaya witnessed the chaos and said the grandfather was bitten by a crocodile that he wanted to give food. The local fire department chief said the croc was caught in a flooded residential area on February 12 before being kept at the tourist attraction, which also includes mini windmills, dairy animals, and farming exhibitions. So not really a good point to, like, not really a good place to keep a wild animal. Bosses had hoped that the locals would visit to give donations to the crocodile, but have surrendered the crocodile to be released by qualified wildlife workers. When we arrived, residents were already crowded at the location and directed us to the victim, so the evacuation process was quick. We received information that the crocodile was previously seen near a landfill and had laid eggs on land. If there is one female crocodile, there is likely a male still lurking around. The Indonesian archipelago is home to 14 types of crocs, with a large population of extremely large and violent estuarine crocodiles that flourish in the region's climate. It's a croc doing croc stuff. How dare it act normally? I know, right? All right. Beavers! Plump beavers. Maybe a penis. Plump Beaver is Chicago's newest viral sensation and now just needs a name. From Chance the Snapper to piping plovers Monty and Rose, Chicagoans love to name animals, but now a new furry friend is captivating the city online without one. Environmental non-profit Urban Rivers hopes to change that. The organisation is seeking the public's help in naming the Southside semi-aquatic rodent that has gone viral on social media. The unnamed beaver lives in the Chicago River. No shit, where else is it going to be? The organisation is seeking the public's help in naming the Southside semi-aquatic. Sammy Clark, beaver researcher. Oh my god, what do you have to do to be classed as a beaver researcher? Said on Tuesday they were discussing the contest and the uptake of beaver sightings. Well, as the weather improves, as it gets warmer, there's going to be more and more beaver sightings. We know this. It's seasonal. Though many suspect the beaver to be pregnant, Clark insists that researchers are unsure if the rodent is male or female. If robin's wood devours 6 inches of wood every 8 hours, how much wood am I going to need to keep this beaver fed all weekend long? Every time. Seeing the individual looking so plump, especially this time of year, gives us hope that it could be a female pregnant again. Beaver juveniles stay with their parents for up to 2 years, and we've been seeing a number of different beavers of varying sizes. So yes, it's been exciting to watch. While Urban Rivers official research began last September, Clark says that the non-profit has seen various beaver sightings since 2022. But is the population growing? It's a little too early to say. The beavers are breeding in the area, and we hope to see more of that this year, you pervs. Hopefully in about a year or so, we'll have some published information for people to follow along with. They're gonna publish the beaver sightings. I know, a real mature head. As for the naming contest, some unique Chicago-centric names are catching on, such as Damn Ryan or Sigourney Beaver. I don't want Sigourney Beaver to be pregnant. Still, Clark says anyone interested in sharing beaver names on Urban River's social media pages and other digital platforms. This has been posted from Stephen Meyer of Urban River on Reddit, and a lot of people are weighing in. The non-profit is also considering names for any baby beavers, known as kits, that may be born in the future. So there you go. A semi carrying metal poles overturns on Broken Arrow Expressway. Oh, see, when I read the tagline, it said truck overturns and spills your mum's dildo over the road. That kind of makes sense, I suppose.
Traffic is still moving slowly on the eastbound Broken Arrow Expressway after a semi overturned near the Sheridan exit. It was carrying metal pipes and overturned in the left lane, crashing into the median and spilling some of its load over the barrier. No other cars were involved.
No, Billy, I will not. And there's nothing wrong with it, Winter Storm. There is nothing wrong with it. Residents divided as Aussie council erects $18,000 clock in countdown to doomsday deadline. Remember what I was talking about how they waste taxpayer money? It counts down the days, numbers and minutes until a pivotal moment in our fight against climate change, but not all are enjoying the message. A thought-provoking art installation in a major inner city public garden has continued to spark mixed reactions, with locals seemingly divided by the controversial work. The $18,000 piece features a countdown cock, it might as well be, tracking the days, hours and minutes until 2030, the pivotal year for climate action in Australia, marked by key national and international targets. Installed in Fitzroy's Edinburgh Gardens in October, 3 kilometres northeast of Melbourne CBD, the piece was created by a local artist, Yandel Walton, and is dubbed Red Zone. It's blue. It is the latest feature on the plinth in the gardens, which is a rotating installation every 12 months funded by the City of Yarra Council. Keep in mind, City of Yarra is one of the wokest friggin' local councils that there is. These are the ones that basically wanted to cancel having citizenships done on Australia Day. Pretty sure that they did still. They won't fly the Australian flag from memory, but they will fly any number of other flags outside the government buildings. It identifies as red. Fair enough. Walton said it's the first time she's created anything on this scale intended to emphasise the urgency of reducing carbon emissions in order to mitigate global warming. Dubbed the Doomsday Clock by some in local media, it continues to spark debate months after its erection, with some branding the work a waste of taxpayer money and others describing it as a great conversation starter. The only conversation that I'm going to say about this, how long till it's removed? And how long until it is no longer a source of a waste of taxpayer, ratepayer funds? You know what? I'm already over that. Two Texas teenage girls have been arrested for a mass casualty attack plot. Yikes. Two teenage girls in the US state of Texas have been arrested for plotting a mass attack with pipe bombs and guns, police say. The girls aged 15 and 16 were planning to attack Memorial High School in the suburb of Houston, police told KHOU, an affiliate of BBC's US partner CBS News. The plot, which was shared on social media... Oh my God, you dumbass little turds. Actually, no. If you got, not that I'm in any way encouraging anyone to engage in any sort of plots or activities, but feel free to post all details of them online so that police can track them. You know? Federal Bureau of Investigation said its threat mitigation team was involved in the response to help local police arrest the teenagers immediately. We're treating this matter with the utmost urgency and commitment, as threats of violence in our schools will not be tolerated, said Montgomery County Sheriff's Office in a statement. A letter sent to the high school family said police quickly arrested a student over a potential credible threat at the planning stages identified on social media. The school itself was implementing additional safety measures after the incident. The sheriff's office said one of the teenagers, a student at Willis High School in Conroe, was being held on unrelated charges, while the other, a student in the Spring Branch School District nearby, was in custody in a nearby county. Police have not named the two girls as they are not adults. The students were arrested within 30 minutes of the FBI calling to notify the school about the threat, according to ABC News. Damn. And actually, that brings us nicely to... Shit, if I can find it. Oh shit, did I close it? No, there it is. More Australians are armed with guns than before the Port Arthur massacre. So do they live in your suburb? The Sydney suburbs with the most registered gun owners have been revealed as the number of firearms in the country surges at an alarming rate. Wait until you hear the numbers and then listen to the propaganda on this. There are now more than 1.1 million registered guns in New South Wales, with a third of the weapons in suburban Sydney, according to 7 News. Camden had the most gun owners with 2,595, followed by Liverpool with 2,010. There are around 700 in Bankstown, Marylands and Greenacre. It has sparked growing concerns. The number of guns in Australia is rising following a national firearms agreement prompted by the 1996 Port Arthur massacre. The mass and they go into details of Port Arthur. The mass pew-pewing left 35 people dead and was described at the time as the worst massacre by a single gunman in Australian history. We drew a line in the sand right there and then about guns in Australia, said New South Wales Greens MP Sue Higginson. I'm wondering how many of these politicians were even around for that shit. And they still seem to miss the point. They can regulate law-abiding gun owners all they want, but they're doing fuck all about the criminals. Gun laws still differ wildly between states, despite the advent of a national gun register last year. Only West Australia has a cap on the number of firearms that can be owned by one person. New data from New South Wales shows one licensed owner in Cremorne on Sydney's lower North Shore had almost 400 guns registered. The community really needs to have a conversation about should there be limits on the number of firearms that people can own. Fuck off, said Stephen Bendel. But New South Wales Police Minister Yasmin Cately, who actually has a lick of and modicum of common sense, said that the force was on top of the issue, with the regulations in New South Wales being robust and the settings are right. And I do love some of the comments. Do you honestly expect the plods to arrest the criminals with firearms? The ones on the top photo cannot be owned by the supermajority of firearms in New South Wales. Firearms owners, don't you know it's easy to go after the low-hanging fruit of legitimate owners? How else will they justify a 47% pay increase? There is no problem with registered firearms by licensed, law-abiding and very closely scrutinised shooters.
Stingy said sent you a clip, that's you today, Pen 15.
Right. You sure? Or was it on Discord? Oh, it was on Discord. I can't play Beavis and Butthead on the channel. So... all right. Anyway, moving on. Had that. Sick of people. Grocery store employee threatens mass pew-pewing over an Xbox. Authorities in Canberra County say a local grocery store employee has been jailed after reportedly threatened to carry out a mass pew-pewing at his workplace. Adamstown. Do you ever think that maybe if people just like didn't how do I phrase this without it coming over wrong? Maybe if we didn't act like the world is burning down every time someone did something stupid with a pew-pew, it wouldn't encourage morons like this to do stupid shit. Just a thought. Adams Township Police say the 25-year-old Dylan Schaefer of Salix was arrested on Wednesday after allegedly made threats to harm his fellow employees and customers while playing online video games on Xbox. According to the affidavit, police were contacted about the threats after a fellow gamer who lives in Minnesota reportedly became concerned about statements that he'd allegedly made while the two were gaming on Tuesday night. Clearly, this was not a COD lobby. Investigators say Schaefer reportedly made several comments about wanting to carry out a pew-pewing at his workplace of employment, which was identified as Market Basket in Richland Township. Police say the alleged conversation between Schaefer and the other gamer was recorded in the online Xbox chat room. According to the recording of the conversation, police say Schaefer reportedly stated that he was sick of people and referred to the store's customers as expletive idiots. Have any of these morons worked customer service before? I mean, I used to call people expletive idiots all the time, just under my breath and to myself. Exactly, I've heard far worse things in chat rooms. So I don't know what they're on about, if I'm perfectly honest. Police say that when they questioned him, he reportedly denied making any concerning statements about harming fellow employees or the store's customers. Investigators noted that the store was also briefly closed due to alleged threats. According to online court records, he was arraigned on Wednesday afternoon on multiple threat charges, as well as one felony count of criminal use of a communication device. Heard far worse before you went on stream. This is true. And yes, people are idiots. A judge has dismissed DUI charges against a Loudoun County prosecutor. Driving under the influence charge against Matthew B. Lowry, a Loudoun County prosecutor and former candidate for Prince William County Commonwealth's attorney's seat, has been dismissed. Lowry, who lives in Woodbridge, was stopped in July during a Department of Motor Vehicles Impaired Driving Enforcement grant detail. Jesus Christ. A Department of Motor Vehicles Impaired Driving Enforcement grant detail. You mean a police operation on the road to try and catch people from drink driving? Fuck me. Could you make that any more pretentious? Larry was arrested for driving under the influence and refusal of a test to determine blood alcohol level. Since that time, the town police have learned that Mr. Lowry is a Deputy Commonwealth Attorney for Loudoun County. At no time did Mr. Lowry identify himself as a Deputy Commonwealth Attorney. Yeah, because they probably would have let him go in the first place. During a February 14 trial in Prince William General District Court, both charges against Lowry were dismissed. The court found there was no evidence to support the initial traffic stop, therefore all charges were dismissed. In 2023, Lowry, a Republican, lost his bid to oust Democrat Amy Ashworth as Prince William County Commonwealth's attorney. He is a former Prince William County Assistant Commonwealth Attorney who served under famed prosecutor Paul Ebbett from 2016 to 2019. He also worked for 11 years as the Deputy Commonwealth Attorney in Spotsylvania County and 2 years in the Fairfax County Commonwealth Attorney's Office. He joined the Loudoun County Attorney's Office as the Deputy Commonwealth Attorney in January 2024. Yes, a booze bust. Thank you. That's what I was trying to remember. A DUI checkpoint. Thank you. Even my words weren't working then. And I've still got the shit to get through as well. Because I think we can get rid of that one, which brings us to... Drink driver nearly 9 times over the legal limit was asleep with engine running, police say. An alleged drink driver has returned an alcohol reading of .434, a figure described by South Australian police officers as the highest she'd heard in almost 17 years of a career. The 41-year-old woman was allegedly found asleep at the wheel of the car at the service station in Strathalbyn, south of Adelaide, on Monday night. Police were called to the spot on South Terrace after a witness reported seeing a woman sleeping outside while the engine was still running. The man and woman was breath tested and allegedly returned a reading almost 9 times the legal limit. She provided an unbelievably high reading of 0.434, said Constable Kate Dawson. It was actually the highest reading I've heard in my almost 17-year career. I almost need to speak to some type of health person for advice on that. The driver was issued with a 12-month immediate loss of licence and her car will be impounded for 28 days. Police said she'll be summoned to appear in court at a later date. Yes, that is alcohol poisoning levels. So, all right, peeps. Before we jump into the big story of the night, I'm just going to quickly go relieve myself and get another Coke. So, these work or not? I can't remember. Oh shit, that's going to be playing twice, isn't it? All right. So I'm back. I got a fresh can of Coke. Brought a dog along with me too. So actually, where are we in terms of that? Oh, we lost like 7 viewers. Oh well. 38 is your BFF. Oh, there you go. So, for those of you that don't know, Schmader and Schmorden are one of the major emotional injury. I don't think I'm allowed to call them ambulance chasers because that may be considered defamatory, and I've really got to be careful here. They're a major law firm. At one point, they were listed on the ASX, our Australian Stock Exchange. They were valued at like $2.7 billion. And then they acquired an insurance practice from England that really tanked the value. And I think a hedge fund, or whatever they're called, an investment firm, capital venture, acquired them for like 150 million, I think. Like, it was a massive drop. But, are you right there? Are you serious? Some big things happened this morning, my time. I don't know if you can hear that, but the dog's scratching and she's hitting the fan. Do you not have enough room? Is that better? Okay, where was I? So some big things happened this morning where basically a major breach of privacy was related. Now, allegedly, it came from an email account from the outgoing head of HR. It was supposed to be sent to the incoming head of HR that was currently like working with a law, who was working at a university as a law professor or something along those lines. Basically, what it allegedly involved, and I will say allegedly because differing amounts of information have been confirmed as being accurate or whatnot. In some instances, it's been said that there might be a grain of rice worth of truth in the email. Another email says that roughly 60% of what's involved in that is incorrect, which means that there's still a 40% that's accurate. But basically, they released every employee's salary, bonus structure, comments by HR and the CEO about individuals. Now, the email itself caused quite a freaking stir because, as you can imagine, a bunch of lawyers finding out that they're being paid less than each other, or more to the point, less than the industry standard, allegedly, has allegedly put the alleged cats amongst the alleged pigeons. The Australian Financial Review put out a news article earlier this morning, and I think it was up for about 14 minutes before it was taken down. Now, obviously, internet sleuths were able to keep track of it and that sort of thing. There's a nice little Reddit thread going that includes a copy of the alleged email, or should I say parts thereof, but also allegedly keeps a copy of the Australian Financial Review's alleged news article, allegedly. Can't believe I'm going to do that. Shit, where's the... So this is allegedly what was said. Slater and Gordon investigates all staff email revealing salaries and dysfunction. Law firm Slater and Gordon is investigating an all-staff email purportedly sent out by outgoing Chief Marie Ruiz Matheson that appears to contain salaries, bonuses, performance ratings, and criticism of key executives. The alleged handover email allegedly sent from a personal email address bearing Ruiz Matheson's name allegedly, and a part of a larger email chain that appears to allegedly include a Slater and Gordon work email address, was blind copied to all staff at the law firm Friday morning. Now, I'm not going to read any more of that because there was obviously a very specific reason why that article was taken down. And the last thing I need is for Slater and Gordon to come after me. I'll be perfectly honest. That would literally be David coming after Goliath. No, Goliath coming after David. But you've got allegedly members of staff commenting on this thread. From the Australian Financial Review, pay for the lawyers started at $77,000 allegedly, and the average pay across all staff was $122,805. The average short-term bonus, which was not included in the salaries, was $21,000. As not a lawyer, this seems surprisingly low. As a lawyer, this still seems low. It's an average, so it's probably misleading. For every partner or associate, there's a bunch of junior lawyers working under them. So if you average salaries across the staff, there are more junior lawyers than senior lawyers, and it brings the average down. The legal profession has a high attrition rate, so those who stay make reasonable money, whereas those who leave because they start doing insane hours for terrible pay make the average seem low. Everyone from another Australian personal injury firm is tuning in for the tea. Oh, not just personal injury firms. When I was sitting on my couch when I heard about this, I had no idea because I'd been busy all day. I was sitting on the couch listening into a Discord group, and I had the wife in the other ear. She just finished up working at a personal injury firm. I'm not going to say which one for obvious reasons. Her phone started blowing up, figuratively, allegedly, with text messages from people that she knew in the industry, allegedly. And allegedly they were saying, hey, have you heard about what allegedly happened? And this alleged email. And I was just like, okay, I need to look further into this. So I went and found this thread. You can go and find it yourself if you want to really have a look through it. It's the r/Oz thread. It's not difficult to find. Yes, hello. She wants pats. Yeah, all other firms. The entire nation really wants to know the tea. Excuse me. Glassdoor looks like it was updated today with the salaries. No shit. Oh. So Glassdoor, I mean, I'm sure that you have something similar in America where basically it's a review and transparency thing for companies, basically. They listed 291 salaries. Oh. As a junior lawyer, you can expect to make between 94 and 114, including super. Junior legal assistant, somewhere between 53 and 56. I'm sorry, this isn't the T, if I'm honest. This is just, I'm curious now because now I can, well, I can compare things if I'm perfectly honest. 68,000 to 110 for a solicitor. So as a lawyer, you could be making less than a senior legal assistant. Damn. Paralegals aren't making much more. Associates are in the 126K range. Holy shit, the principals are only on 180 to 210. Wow, allegedly. Holy crap. Oh, no, that's that article. Wise dude once told me once the toothpaste is out of the tube, if you put 40K in trust and sign the cost agreement, I can get an injunction requiring the toothpaste to go back in the tube. Did your employer just defame you in a mass mail out of your pitiful salary and conditions? You may be entitled to significant damages and relief. Contact our staff at Schmader and Schmorden now for the forthcoming order. Class action. Surely someone has a copy of the email. I'm willing to bet that the former chief people officer at Slater and Gordon has a copy. I'm willing to bet they do too. Fucking memes. Time for a class action. Someone call Slater and... Oh, wait a minute. Section 333B of the Fair Work Act has entered the chat. Probably doesn't actually apply to blasting out everyone's pay rates, but still. Shit, I had to keep going. Where was it? Article is up. That's fine, because that's the other article we'll go back to in a second. So Slater and Gordon need an accountant. Following with popcorn in hand. So, I mean, look, this is a major freaking breach, and a lot of this allegedly came as a result of the, apparently they had a massive class action that they didn't do very well. Oh, here it is, Strange Koala, the throwaway. Slater's employee here, throwaway for obvious reasons. The email in question allegedly was an email allegedly to the incoming HR manager, allegedly, and listed allegedly in detail what to look out for allegedly with certain alleged staff members. As far as I know, all staff were CC'd in. Fuck. Whilst doing this, they allegedly outlined that a senior executive had multiple complaints of harassment made against them, allegedly, and they had instead moved on the accusers, as well as outing other members of staff as having cancer, allegedly. As far as I know, this wasn't made public by them, allegedly. Other members got off lightly instead being listed as lazy and mentioning that they were being performance managed out as they weren't liked, allegedly. The payroll was attached for whatever reason, allegedly. The CEO has since responded, claiming said emails contain blatant inaccuracies and defamatory and false information, allegedly. Hence why I haven't read out any of the snippets that have allegedly been posted on Reddit, because there are people that have copied and pasted bits and pieces. From what I gather, Slater and Gordon were very quick on the uptake with their IT department, having it deleted from pretty much everybody's emails. There's probably copies that are going to start surfacing over the next few days, because someone out there would have been smart enough to transfer that, I would believe, personally. Have they demanded all the staff delete said email and pluck their eyes out? They did ask, but managed to get it deleted from the system somehow. They've also removed permissions from us to view our email archives, so now I can't progress an ancient matter. So I should point out that that means that it is actually interfering with legal work on other unrelated legal matters as well. This happened to me once, but I had the email attached open. They couldn't delete it. Surely someone had it open and made a copy before it was deleted. Probably. But people have been like typing out parts of the emails and that sort of thing. I'm not going to read through that because I have no idea what's accurate and what's not. So in other words, they're in serious trouble. Would be my personal opinion, honestly. The individual that allegedly sent the email has made a police report stating that their email address was allegedly hacked and that allegedly they had nothing to do with it. And surprisingly, the management from Slater and Gordon have come out behind them as well. So here's the current news article that I can read through without it being defamatory as far as I'm concerned. Slater and Gordon to make police report over mass email revealing salaries. It was just before 10 a.m. on Friday when an email hit the inboxes of hundreds of Slater and Gordon employees that, regardless of its veracity, so irrespective of whether it's true or not, would spark an immediate investigation by the firm and cause workplace ruptures for weeks to come. Weeks? People are going to be talking about this for months. Allegedly. Purportedly sent out by outgoing Chief People Officer Marie Ruiz Matheson, head of HR. Like, no need to give people just pretentious titles. Chief People Officer. It's head of Human Resources. The email first appeared to be a handover to her replacement, Julie Catanach, who has yet to start at the firm. It contained criticisms of key executives, allegedly, complaints about private equity firm Allegro's plans to gut the place, allegedly, because there is an argument saying that after the recent pay disputes or whatever else, they just want to sell it, flog it off, basically, because allegedly they've lost a bit of money. Allegedly. I don't know how true that is. I don't know. Don't take that at face value. I am just relaying what I've read on Reddit, so... and a spreadsheet apparently detailing the salaries, bonuses, and performance ratings of 906 staff members. It was sent from a personal email address, allegedly bearing Ruiz Matheson's name, and was part of a larger email chain that appears to include a Slater and Gordon work email address, allegedly. Despite having her name and email signature, it blind copied in all staff members. Excuse me. Turmoil erupted at the firm as staff could see the purported performance scores of colleagues and any differences in their pay compared to others. Slater and Gordon scrambled to investigate the origin of the email. If there was ever a time when you wanted to know what your colleague's pay was, it's going to be right after settling a pay dispute, in my personal opinion. These were the share prices right back to February 2024. Like, it was sort of just on the way up. So, a Slater and Gordon spokesperson said Ruiz Matheson is not the author or sender of the email, nor is the address attributed to her. So, allegedly, someone hacked in or created an account using her name and provided this information that, by all accounts, is either partly accurate or up to 40% accurate, depending on which news article or reference you listen to. I actually think it's this one here where they say that 60% of the Excel spreadsheet is wrong. Well, that still means that approximately 40% is roughly accurate. That's still a fuck ton of information out there. The spokesperson added that Ruiz Matheson had made a police report late on Friday afternoon. Australian Financial Review Weekend made repeated attempts to contact us. Slater and Gordon will also refer the matter to the police. The firm said some of the details and claims in the email are not true and in many ways a work of fiction. Some of the details and claims in the email are not true. Not all, not most, not even a good portion of, just some are not true. Sounds like a lying lawyer speak, in your opinion. Well, you know. The allegations were serious and clearly aimed to destabilise the firm's leadership. It described the firm, which is already putting out several fires after staff conditions and significant class action losses, as a textbook case of dysfunction, allegedly. It claimed the chief executive was calculated and focused on her own bonus, allegedly. Once a market darling with a capitalisation as high as $2.7 billion in 2015, Slater and Gordon's value allegedly crashed after the ill-fated acquisition of British insurance claims business Quindel. It was taken over by private equity outfit Allegro Funds for about $150 million. Had a market capitalisation of $2.7 billion. And Allegro took a controlling interest for $150 million. Damn! As with all takeovers, there were teething problems. The email accused Allegro of true to private equity firm gutting the place. Heads are rolling and what remains is a skeleton crew barely keeping things together. The end game? A polished up shell to be sold off at the right price. Grim but predictable, it read. Allegedly. Legal sources said Slater and Gordon took steps to prevent the email circulation once they realised it had been sent to all staff, allegedly. But the email had already begun its distribution outside the law firm. There's effectively copies of it floating around. We know that it made it outside the law firm. At this point, it's just who's going to be dumb enough to post it online. I'm not saying anyone should do that. I in no way would condone that. Although, if anyone wants to contact me for legal advice in relation to it, I'm more than happy to enter into a retainer and have client privilege with you. An executive only worried about their salary? Nah, those don't exist. All of them are top-notch, stand-up, selfless humans. Yep. Sounds like someone in accounting was pissed off. I'm unsure why the pays would have been attached to this email. That's why I'm a little bit suspect of them, if I'm perfectly honest. Ruiz Matheson was the second chief people officer to leave the firm in the matter of months, and the fifth in 5 years. They couldn't keep a head of HR on staff over 5 years, apparently, allegedly. Her predecessor, Alicia Gleason, is suing the firm in federal court, alleging that she was sacked for complaining about a deliberate and systematic underpayment. Gleason, who is claimed to have lost almost $1 million in share and bonus entitlements when she was sacked, said the firm repeatedly ignored advice that it was miscalculating leave entitlements and underpaying its staff, allegedly. The email allegedly accused the CEO of wanting to restructure the class actions division as it looked for heads to roll after losing a major case. Slater and Gordon recently clocked a heavy loss on a major action brought against pharmaceutical company Bayer on behalf of more than 1,400 women over the safety of one of its female contraceptive devices. The case was run on a no-win, no-fee basis, which is exactly what it sounds like. The law firm pays all disbursements, it pays all out-of-pocket expenses, and it takes a cut if and when they win. Ordinarily, what will happen is a firm will go to a litigation funder who will also be taking a cut, and if they've done that, it means that the firm has to foot the bill for that as well. Ouch. I'm not suggesting that that's what they did in this instance. I'm just saying that's what will occasionally happen. Can I retain you even though I'm in the US? Not for US matters. I'm not cleared to act pro hoc vice in any jurisdiction in the US yet. The email also alleged that Ruiz Matheson was not given the role permanently over a difference in salary expectations, allegedly. I sincerely hope that you can make a difference, though given you'll be the 5th person in this role in 5 years, I wouldn't hold my breath. Damn. AFR, Australian Financial Review Weekend, and I myself am not suggesting...
Dance, monkey! Dance for your dollar!
AFR Weekend and I myself am not suggesting that any of the claims in the email are true, only that they have been made. It further outlined disparaging views on key staff members, painting a picture of internal politics and frequent scheming. It allegedly also shared the details of 900 plus staff members' salaries. Oh, it links to another article. I was like, oh, crap. Why even use internet-facing email for internal legal matters like this? Inbox zero types, I'm guessing, an internal network-only mail system that cannot resolve outside addresses. There's nothing to say that they didn't necessarily have that, but I mean... The Dodge v. Ford lawsuit had impacts worldwide, it seems. Thank Dodge for making it so corporations only owe duty to increase shareholder value. Oh, I can go on about that for hours. Seriously, I covered globalization and the rule of law in university. It was one of the pet subjects that I took. And, yeah. So it gave out the staff members' salaries and performance ratings, purporting to reveal pay levels far below those of the major commercial law firms. Allegedly. How would you feel waking up and receiving an email that gave out not only your own pay, but those of everyone else in your firm, and then comparing them to the other law firms in the industry and in commercial industry, and realizing that allegedly your pay is significantly less than other people working in the industry? Ouch. You'd be cackling because you love chaos. Pet subjects, you mean electives? No, so there's a difference between an elective. Elective is a subject that you have to take. A pet subject is something that I love to talk about. But, you know, same diff. The CEO was paid the most at $690,000, according to the spreadsheet, allegedly. Practice Group General Managers Nuzio Tartalagia, Jackie Edgar, and Emma Pelka Caven were the only other staff that allegedly earned over $400,000. Pay for lawyers started at $77,000 allegedly, and the average pay across all staff was $122,000. The average short-term bonus, which was not included, was a whole $21,765. Starting figures what the junior lawyers earned under the previous enterprise agreement, which was renegotiated in December after a 10-month dispute. The firm said that there were inaccuracies in the pay data presented and that it was outdated. Yes, I know electives are the classes you choose to take. I'm saying it's a... Shit, what do you call it? It was an elective that I took that I really, really enjoyed taking, and it's a pet subject that I enjoy talking about. And that I research even after I... Oh, you're just screwing with me, aren't you? Someone getting paid less than a teacher. Allegedly. I love that. There were... What was that? It wouldn't put my comment. The firm said there were inaccuracies as it was outdated. AFRE can separately verify that some staff that the pay matched their pre-EBA renegotiation levels. Regardless, in an industry such as the law, where money is the marker of success and pay levels are often discretionary, lawyers, both within and outside Slaters, were poring over the data on Friday. The firm only recently emerged from a bruising industrial relations battle with its own staff, who had threatened to strike over enduring a period of low wage rises amid financial pressure on the private equity-owned class action firm. The new staff agreement runs for 3 years and will conclude as Allegro begins to look for an exit from the business, allegedly, which it took off the stock exchange in April of 2023. This email, regardless of its origin, is a headache that it doesn't need. Kind of gives a little bit of weight to the whole, they're looking to gut it and just sell it off, in my personal opinion. Can see bonuses becoming a problem if they're not linked to performance. Well, yeah. See, workers' rights law firm admits to underpaying staff $300,000, allegedly. It's not a passion if you don't teach us what you learned. You know what? I'll reread the book. I'll make sure I know what I'm talking about, and we can have a seminar on it. How's that sound? But the point is that this, as I said, is allegedly going to throw the alleged cats amongst the alleged pigeons. This is a major law firm here that covers not just personal injury, but a lot of major industries. And it really feels like, in my opinion, that it may not exist in another 5 years to a decade, based on what I'm hearing. I mean, that's my own personal opinion, but because like we know that there are parts of the emails that have been copied and pasted and that sort of thing. Like, look at this. Someone thinks someone is useless and waiting for them to make a mistake so they can sack them. Ouch. Someone's being made redundant due to old loyalties she found. Wow. Anyway. As everyone will have probably seen, Slater and Gordon's responded making the point that a lot of what in the email is contested. So while I'm leaving this here for its newsworthiness, please don't sue me. Nobody on the mod team suggests any of this is necessarily true. It's merely what has been newsworthily reported. So, Morris Blackburn is one of the other ones, yes. Not that they're in any way implicated in any of this, for just making sure that I clarify that. There's several large to mid-size personal injury firms now that are really getting their work, well, getting around things, shall we say. Personally, I'm not one of them. I've never had a nose for personal injury, so the time that the wife's spending working with me is on property transactions, estates, wills, stuff that she really finds really, really boring. But work with a few people like that. My supervisor just waiting to fire people. That sucks. So yeah, I mean, I think this is going to play out rather interestingly. Going to accidentally say allegedly during a meeting today. I'm sure of it. Sorry. I really had to cover my ass, and I need to reevaluate and re-express. Going through that news article, all comments are of opinion and in no way intended to be defamatory in any way, shape, or form, Slaters. I'm just saying, okay? I was going over what information is publicly available and providing my own independent commentary on it. It is purely opinion, not professional advice, not in any way intended to be defamatory. Purely just reporting on something of noteworthiness. So. But anyway, peeps, it is now 1 a.m, so I'm going to go and get some sleep. Thank you so much to everyone that's been here tonight, everyone that has hit that like button and double-checked whether or not you're subscribed, because now that we've lost a few subscribers, I need to try and start building back up so that I need that hit of Coke? No, what's the... Endorphins. I need that endorphin rush, so... I would never poke fun at people. Look, sometimes I'll make fun of some people, so... But, yes, make sure you've hit that subscribe button, double-check whether or not you are or aren't, and you know what? If you think you know someone that would enjoy my content, maybe just think about referring them to me. Because, hey, if I don't ask for referrals, I don't get them. I might as well treat this like I do my firm. But as always, people, remember, you are not a piece of shit. You have value and do contribute to society, and thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. I know there's been a bit of upheaval. I'm trying to work through a few things. I'm hoping that the weekday streams will take a little bit more of a structured format, maybe. We'll see. But we'll see how things pan out. Anyway, as always, stay healthy, wealthy, and wise, people, and I will catch you all on the flip side.
And again, on your way out, please do me the favor and hit the like and subscribe button if you're so inclined. It costs nothing. It's absolutely free, and we'll be friends forever. Bye now.
Shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Are they gone? I'm assuming the loyals are still here, but is everyone else gone? Are we good? Oh, what a week, peeps! I just about lost it when the Karen Reid hearing ended the way that it did. Because I was looking so forward to watching that, I really was. And then just Oh, I knew I forgot something. Oops. You had to adult today? That sucks. But yeah, what else? Like I said in the traveling lawyer stream today, if anyone has any funny videos they can send to me that I can work into the play. I mean, obviously not copyright material. For example, friggin' Beavis and Butthead or Red and Stimpy and shit like that. But because I'm running out of chat musics to sort of break things up. But you know, we'll see what happens. Things are settling in with the new job, so looks like the new office is going to run reasonably smoothly. I just got to try and get through a whole heap of paperwork and make sure that everything's on top of it. And in the interim, I'm keeping up with what legal work I'm still doing. And the driving hasn't been too bad. Like, people keep saying to me, what the hell are you doing driving 4 hours a day? But surprisingly, it's not that bad. Especially when I stream, because it keeps me, like, lucid and focused and all that sort of stuff. But it gives me a chance to listen to the news, gives me a chance to catch up with friends, make phone calls, all that sort of stuff. So, you know. How do you send them to me? You can either message me them on X, or you can drop them into the Discord. Should be fine. Or worst case scenario, if you need to, email them to me at AussieOverlaw'd@gmail.com. Would be great. Because, yeah, and I kind of feel like doing, like, more of these review things, but put a chick in it and make it lame and gay. Well, just uploaded Marvel Rivals and now AVG's blocking a driver. So the Chinese-based game got updated, and now your antivirus is having an issue with it. What does that tell you, Blandrous? I keep feeling I've got to find a cause, but I don't really think that... Because, I mean, I could go off on Australian politics, like, easily, but at the same time, A, I don't think a bunch of you are going to give a shit, and B, political channels get hit hard. So, I don't know. I shall work it out. But, hopefully tomorrow I'll work out the OBS stuff as well. So fingers crossed I'll work out why it was dropping the frame rate so badly and go from there. And yeah. So I guess I'll see you all later, peeps. Have a good evening. Day, week, month, whatever it is. Whenever I'm looking at you or whenever you're looking at me, you're always welcome here. And hopefully I'm always welcome to keep you guys entertained. So... the Australian government scares you. The Australian government scares me. So, and the trouble is that it's not as if Dutton's going to be any better. Sorry, Josh. At least you made it for the after party. Cheers, mate.